What's going on, everybody? Mark Conway with the Midwest Horror Network. Thank you so much for clicking on this link for the Nightmares podcast. If you do want to hear just the audio version of this podcast, click the Spotify link below.
Deck the halls with bells and blood. Fa la 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 fusro da. Welcome to the Nightmares podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today I can, only assume you can guess what the fuck we're talking about. Only the worst holiday of the year, because it's not Halloween. But that's besides the point. I was outvoted on this topic. Anyways, I'm here today. I'm your host, Zachary Smith, here with Mark Conway and Brandon Rakowski. How y'all doing today, motherfuckers?
Actually, that wasn't bad out of an intro. It actually didn't.
Merry Christmas, guys.
It didn't suck.
My intros never suck, except the last time I introed, because I was put on the spot and I couldn't think of anything at the time because of reasons.
And I'm actually surprised considering how much you hate this, how much it actually worked. But
I
anyway,
fucking hate Christmas.
Anyway, Brandon, go ahead and tell us what we're talking about.
I like Christmas. Well, at least I like what Christmas is supposed to be. As we were talking about before we started recording, Christmas is kind of what you make it.
Yep.
And people make it terrible.
There are a lot of people that just turn it into the most stressful time of the year. I like to turn it into the most relaxed time of the year.
Agreed.
But that's just me.
Agreed. I mean, I've been doing.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
I don't think so. I think it's a time to hang out with people that you care about, and to be reminded about the people that you care about.
I do that all year long.
Yep.
Well, good for you.
But yeah, today we're talking about, and since today is Christmas Day,
Indeed.
Friday, and I'm assuming we didn't miss our typical Friday upload for the podcast.
Never.
We are talking about Christmas horror movies.
And actually, there's a few out there.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
There's plenty. Just most of them are terrible.
It's like shark movies. For every one good one, there's like a million bad ones.
Close, Brandon. It's for every one good one, there's 100 bad ones.
Sure.
But I'm talking about Christmas horror movies. So.
There's not. I don't think there is.
I don't think there's that many Christmas horror movies.
There's a lot out there.
I'm sure there is, but still.
One that we actually have a slight connection to that I actually have not seen.
Really?
Yeah. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Bruce was the special effects assistant on that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, he showed a clip in one of his classes that I was in. I forget which one it was. But he, which for our listeners, Bruce refers to Bruce civilly. He was the screenwriting teacher for myself and Zach when we were in school. And he also produced a lot of special features for the classic James Bond movies, like the stuff from the Connery era through at least the Timothy Dalton era. I don't know if he did anything for Pierce Brosnan. I'm pretty sure he didn't do anything for Daniel Craig.
I want to say he did at least one thing for Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. Very knowledgeable person. But,
indeed. And a great teacher.
Oh, yes. Excellent
One
person.
of the best.
But, of course, he's probably the bigger expert about his background of James Bond than I am because he's him.
You don't say.
I don't say. So, Bruce, if you are listening and I got anything wrong about your James Bond background, I sincerely apologize.
Please write Brandon a strongly worded letter telling him how disappointed you are in him.
Or just put a comment in the comments below.
Either one will do.
Yeah.
Do the comment.
Because Brandon gets excited when he receives letters from people, and I think he'd be greatly disappointed if he got a very strongly worded letter. I would walk into
the way the post office is right now, any strongly worded letter that's mailed to me, I'm not getting for at least a year.
Oh my God.
That's actually a very fair point.
He's coming here a year later, or in the middle of the summer, and it's like, be all disappointed on the couch with like sand with a letter next to him. He's like, dude, what's wrong? And he's like, you know that year ago when we did that Christmas podcast, I finally got that angry letter. It was really hurtful.
Anyway, getting back to his involvement with Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, he was the special effects assistant for it, and there is one kill in that movie where basically, it's been forever since I've seen the clip, but basically somebody gets electrocuted with
the hand?
Yeah. With what do you call it? Jumper cables, I think they were.
Yeah.
And the hands actually attaching the jumper cables to the person are Bruce's hands in that one shot.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. So Brandon, you wanna kick it off with your list?
Yes.
A very simple yes. Yes.
So I kind of want to highlight some lesser known Christmas horror movies. because you know every year people talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night, which, like I said, I still have not seen part 2, even though our screenwriting teacher was involved with it, and I actually have not seen the original either. I think Brian Usna directed the 4th one.
Okey-dokey.
So the 2 big ones that I just want to sort of mention, because I mean it's like there's no shortage of people that talk about these movies. The greatest Christmas horror movie of all time, if you ask me, is of course going to be Joe Dante's Gremlins.
It's definitely on my list. Yeah, it's definitely on my list. I can't not mention that movie without talking about something about Christmas.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's a classic.
Yeah, let's move on from that though. That's just gonna be depressing.
So that's Gremlins, and then the other big one I have is one that I was watching as Mark arrived today, and that's Krampus. It's just a fun movie. My biggest complaint with it though is it's more like about Krampus's minions than actual Krampus.
I'll give you that. The also gonna be on my list.
But it is a very well done movie done by Michael Dougherty, who of course did Trick or Treat and the recent Godzilla King of the Monsters. As a director, I've yet to be disappointed by him. But yeah, I saw that one in the theater, really enjoyed it, and yeah, Mark, since that one's going to be on your list, I'll leave that one mostly for you.
Fair enough,
But
fair enough.
I do think it is a very good Christmas horror movie. Other than when I've been on the ships, I do think I've watched it at least once every Christmas season since it came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far, Michael Dougherty overall for his movies are 3 for 3, which means he's also 2 for 2 on the holiday horror movies. So, yeah, even though I don't want him pigeonholed as the holiday horror person, he's done a good job so far, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Krampus, just on a technical level, is really went above and beyond on a lot of things. And probably my favorite part of the movie is when the girl is trying to get to her boyfriend's house, and it's just, you can't see it. It's just like there's so much fog from the snow and everything. It's dark, and just the sound design of Krampus jumping on the rooftops and his howl. Like, it's just a really well done scene. That's like, and especially if you listen to it with the full surround mix, like that is sound design that will just make you cold.
You know what? And I when I was watching it, and I'll talk more about it when I get there. But I do want to say this: that movie could have been extremely lazy at every turn.
Yeah,
and
especially since there are so many like really cheapoid Krampus movies out there.
Yeah, it could have relied entirely on the CGI oriented things. It could have said fuck it to all of the set design, to all of the atmosphere, sound design, practical effects, the puppetry. It could have just been really fucking lazy and just said, we got these kind of famous people in this movie, like, let's just do a horror movie and then call it a day. But there was actually a genuine effort, and at least in my eyes, when I saw it, I was like, this is something that we would have made, because we love to do shit like this. Would it have been the same story? No, maybe not necessarily, but a lot of detail and love and care was put into it. And I was like, these are guys that are fans of the genre.
Yeah, and I'm looking at what Michael Dougherty has coming up. And he did have a hand in writing the screenplay for the upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
He didn't direct it, but he did direct King of the Monsters, which I really liked. I think it's probably one of the most underrated movies of 2019, probably. If not,
absolutely.
If not the most underrated movie.
The thing that annoyed me about that movie is with 2014 Godzilla, everybody's just like, there's no Godzilla. And I agree. You call it Godzilla, and you put Godzilla into next to none of it.
They gave us a movie that's full of Godzilla and monster fighting. Everyone's just like, there's too much Godzilla and monster fighting in this movie.
It's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you!
Dude,
this movie was phenomenal.
It was awesome.
It was great. We saw it in IMAX, and I fucking loved it.
Dude, I think everyone just loves to bitch. Like, and that's just, at the end of the day, that's just what it is.
But he is also apparently going to have a hand in the writing for the upcoming Hellraiser TV series.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't care. Just yeah.
Which, I mean, I know Hellraiser's kind of gone through some very cheap hands as of late.
You
but
don't say.
I mean, if it's going to be in the hands of somebody like Michael Dougherty, who has literally put so much care into everything he's had involvement with, that at least gives me hope. And apparently on the directing side, we're getting David Gordon Green, who did the most recent Halloween. So
Okay.
it's at least in the hands of people that know what they're doing.
We'll see.
the
I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
No, nor should you. But you know, at the end of the day, though, but like Brandon was saying, it is in the hands of people that have a proven track record for giving
Fair.
a shit.
I am more excited for this than I am for whatever that found footage Hellraiser was.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
That was
was
just,
that Revelations or Judgment? Either way, the one that was, I'd rather hear that Hellraiser is in the hands of Michael Dougherty and David Gordon Green than hear that Hellraiser is still in the hands of Dimension Extreme.
Yeah, I will say this: the last Hellraiser movie that came out wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really good either. It just was like, doesn't even feel like Hellraiser. You have Pinhead in it, and he's not a bad Pinhead. The guy they got to play it actually did a pretty good job, but it was just like, this is,
It's like the Ben Affleck Batman thing. It's not his fault the script sucked.
yeah.
The bloody mess.
Since we just talked about Krampus, I think that's a good segue into the first one I have. And it's one that I actually just watched today. And it's one that it actually came out the same year as Krampus. And I did think, and I avoided it for the longest time because I did think that it was one of those cheapoid knockoff, like, not Sci-Fi Channel, but, Sci-Fi Channel quality type movies. They're a dime a dozen. If you search Krampus on Amazon Prime, you see like
There's a shit ton.
Yeah, there's a lot of Krampus movies. 99% of them are
Hot
the type
garbage.
of movie I'm talking about here. And I did think this movie was one of them, but just lately this year it's been popping up on a lot of like top Christmas horror movie lists. And then I found out William Shatner was in it.
All right.
And so I'm just like, okay, maybe there's something to this, so I'll check it out. And it's called A Christmas Horror Story.
Interesting.
And it's basically the overly simplified description of it is it's the Christmas version of Trick or Treat, in which there are different stories going on Christmas Eve that are all horror stories, but instead of Halloween like in Trick or Treat, it's Christmas related. And Zach, you have this look on your face. Did you just look it up? Or
Yep, 10 Krampus movies.
On Amazon Prime?
Yep.
All right.
Jesus.
And is that including the actual legit Krampus movie?
I believe so. I
Okay.
don't know because they all look the fucking same to me.
They really do.
Oh my god, that's terrible. And I've actually this one movie I've seen on it's on Shudder right now.
Yeah, I actually watched it on Shudder.
I was thinking about watching it for this podcast. So anyway, tell us about it.
Yeah, like I said, it's different stories, kind of interconnected. And when I read Christmas stories, I was like, oh, so is it like an anthology? Not really. Like it is, but it isn't. It is different stories, but they all are somewhat interconnected. And it's not the anthology format where it's like, here's one story, then here's the next one, here's the next one. They are actually intercut with each other.
All right.
So it's like I understand, and from my understanding is that there are 3 directors on this movie, and they kind of just divided up the stories amongst each other, and they each treated one as its own production, but then in editing, that's where they intercut them together, and it's, yeah. So it takes place on Christmas Eve, and there are 4 main stories. But sort of the connecting tissue in a way is you have William Shatner playing a DJ who's pulling a long shift at the radio station. So one story is 3 high school students are making sort of like a little documentary about these murders that happened at their school a year prior on Christmas Eve. They get locked in the school during that time in the section where the murder happened, and there is a ghost who has plans for them, let's say.
All right.
That story I was just kind of meh on. I liked the mythology behind it, but just overall just didn't really... It was a good idea, but it just didn't grab me the way that some of the other stories in this did. The next story is there's a family, mother, father, and their little son, who's maybe 6 years old, somewhere between 6 and 8, let's say. The father was actually one of the cops that investigated the murder at the school the year prior, and because of trauma, he was forced to take a leave of absence from the force. And so the family is going to get a Christmas tree. They actually break into some farmer's land to get a tree. They lose their son. Their son gets lost in the woods. They find him. They bring him back home. But it turns out, and somewhat small spoiler alert, it turns out that the kid that they found isn't their actual son, but rather a changeling.
Yeah.
And I actually liked this story quite a bit because, like, you don't get changeling stories, like, ever. Like, even Clint Eastwood's movie Changeling isn't an actual changeling. That's just the title.
I've seen it one other time in an episode of Supernatural. That is it.
That's not even a movie. That's a TV show.
Correct.
So it's actually doing a story based off of a monster that we don't see. I really appreciated. And I just thought it was a really well done story. Kind of a slow burn, but I liked it.
Nice.
Once they introduced, like, at first it was like, all right, where's this going? But then once the changeling aspect was introduced, it was, all right, I like where this is going.
Nice. I like it.
Third story, there's a family, mother, father, son, daughter, and the daughter is actually friends with the 3 students doing the documentary. And in fact, she was supposed to be with them at the school, but her family's making her go out of town to visit their aunt. And their aunt basically tells them about the spirit of Christmas known as Krampus. She makes them leave because she doesn't like them. And basically on the road home, they're in a car accident and they're basically hunted by Krampus.
So we got another Krampus.
This one, and I wanted to like this story more than I did.
All right.
I really liked the idea of it. I liked the characters. Like, much like the actual Krampus movie that we were talking about, these are not good people, which I think is kind of necessary for a Krampus story.
You would think.
Kind of like what the big thing with this one is. So, like I said, the movie does intercut between the stories, and for the longest time, I felt like this story kind of just fell off the face of the earth in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like it sets it up, and then it just went a really long stretch of period of time without going back to it, and then until finally it did, I'm just like, all right, so this story is still going. All right. But yeah, they're just trapped on the side of the road, pretty much being picked off by Krampus. They take refuge in a church, and basically family drama is brought to light.
Of
I won't
course.
spoil what, but it's like, oh wow, these people are worse than I thought they were, and I already thought they were pretty terrible.
That's usually how that happens.
And then the ending of that one wasn't bad, but it was also kind of just like, all right, that was weird. I won't spoil, but it was a fun one. Good, simple idea. I just feel like it was done a disservice by the movie by just kind of ignoring it for a long stretch of time. But I do think that was a solid one.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
And then the final story, and this is the story that's on the cover of the movie and the poster. And
Yeah, I was wondering when Naga was going to come. That is a very, very specific
Yeah.
movie poster.
And it's actually probably the poster is the reason why I avoided the movie, because like I said, it looks like one of those cheap knockoff Krampus movies. It looks like it. But it's basically Santa Claus in the North Pole. His elves all get infected and become zombies, but they're not like brainless zombies. Like, they can still talk. And they basically become like really rude and nasty and evil.
Okay.
And so Santa's basically having to kill his way through his elves.
So they basically turn into trolls rather than elves.
Yeah, I guess so. But they're undead.
Oh, okay. So.
They are undead, and it basically culminates into Santa Claus versus Krampus. I will not spoil the ending of this one.
Okay.
The ending of this one is a twist. I'll call it that. Not the greatest twist. Not a bad twist either.
But a twist
But it's
nonetheless.
enough of a twist that if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. And in fact, I kind of semi-apologize for even saying there is a twist.
Okay. Fair enough.
And yeah, overall, it was a fun movie. It takes its time. It really takes its time.
It's an anthology story. They often do.
And it's almost 20 minutes longer than Trick or Treat, and like Trick or Treat's only like an hour and 20 minutes, and that movie just keeps moving.
Okay.
Like that movie is just pure story. Like it doesn't stop for anything. It's just like, here are your stories that we're going to tell them really well. Whereas this movie really takes its time to get going. And so I do wonder if I would have liked it more if it was closer to the runtime of Trick or Treat, and didn't have, if they didn't give it time to just, like, you know,
Marinate.
Not even marinate, but it's just kind of like, I feel like it's just trying to pad the runtime when it didn't need to.
Fair enough.
Like it just felt like it had a lot of extra skin on it.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
All right.
Not that that's a bad thing, but I felt the length in the first half. But it did pick up in the second half.
All right. Well, yeah. As long as you stick the landing, you
Yeah.
can forgive a lot of stuff.
I'd rather a movie be slower in the beginning, but pick up in the end and end well, than a movie start really well and just completely fall apart.
Oh yeah, a fucking disaster if that happens.
Yeah. But yeah, very much worth a watch. If you're like me and you were avoiding it because of the poster and you thought it was a knockoff Krampus movie, it's not. It is above that line of standard. It is a legitimately well done movie. Maybe the slow pacing will put you off. Maybe it won't. But it is a good enough movie that it's worth seeking out and watching at least once.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And then I have two more that I want to talk about. And the next one I have is one that I showed you guys, Better Watch Out.
Which I enjoyed.
Yeah, that one was a fun one.
It was. I mean, it's a simple concept, but it was a fun one.
And the reason I showed it to you guys is it's a movie that you can't really talk about it without going into a major spoiler for the story.
Yeah.
And I wanted us to be able to talk about it more than just, it's good, but I can't spoil it for you. Moving on.
Fair enough.
I wanted something a little more than that. So if you haven't seen Better Watch Out,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's going to ruin
ahead.
the whole movie for you, so if you have any interest in watching it, go
Yeah.
watch it.
Or should we save this one for a little later in the podcast? So
We already talked about it. Let's just
we
do
talked
it.
about. Let's go into
Yeah.
it.
Let's go
All
right into it.
So basically, there's this 12-year-old kid, and his babysitter's coming over. She's moving away, and she's been his babysitter for years. So it's kind of like this is like her big goodbye to him. And the kid has this really annoying friend.
Jesus Christ, he's annoying.
Definition of annoying friend. But he goes home, and so basically the kid has plans to basically confess his love for his babysitter and everything. And
He wants to
seduce
fuck her.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah.
I was getting to that.
He's 12 years old, by the way.
Hormones.
They I don't know. They get to you, don't they?
Yeah. Isn't it awful when you don't have parents who teach you to, suppress everything? Wait.
Wait a minute. They
There's nothing wrong with hormones. Just learn to control them.
yeah, that's it. And don't go into a
Don't do what the kid in this movie
Yeah,
does.
don't do that.
So anyway, they're home alone, and basically starts off as a home invasion movie. Intruders are trying to get into the house. They throw a cinder block through the window with "If you leave, you die" written on it. The kid's friend comes back, and he tries running out of the house, and he gets shot, pretty much. And so then the kid and his babysitter are hiding in a closet, and basically the babysitter figures out that this is all a prank pulled by the kid because he thinks that if he scares her and protects her from these intruders, she'll fall in love with him.
Once again, a guy going to the nth degree to fucking.
Not even a guy, a kid.
They he's a
12-year-old kid trying to get in the pants of an
Yep.
18-year-old.
16-year-old.
16. Well,
16, 17.
They
either way.
She wasn't 18. I know
no.
that
Once
much.
again, a guy going to extreme lengths to sleep with a girl. It doesn't matter what age they are. That that happens at all ages.
There is such thing as going too far, Mark.
No shit.
Well,
As evidenced by what happens next.
oh my God, what doesn't happen?
And so she is understandably not happy.
Pissed
Yeah.
off.
And so basically the kid knocks her down the stairs. She gets knocked out and she wakes up tied to a chair. And yeah, this kid is a psychopath.
And I know this goes without saying, but we forgot to mention it, or at least I thought you forgot to mention this. This all takes place around Christmas.
Yeah.
So there's the Christmas trees and Christmas lights and all kinds of shit going on. Obviously, we're talking about it this way, but just figured I'd throw that out there because people might be listening and being like, "What the fuck does it have to do with Christmas?" Like, well, it's happening at Christmas.
And it's called Better Watch Out.
Sure, but just saying.
And basically the kid manipulates things that her boyfriend comes over, her ex-boyfriend comes over,
And
and
her ex-boyfriend's fucking retarded.
freaking idiot.
That's an understatement.
Like, dude, if PacSun and fucking Abercrombie and Fitch were a person, like that would be that guy.
And then probably one of my favorite parts, though, is so the kid and his friend had this disagreement about the paint can scene from Home Alone. And so they do their own little experiment to see what would have actually happened if you knock a full paint can from the stairs on a rope into somebody's head.
And you find out.
It didn't end well for the boyfriend, I'll put it that way.
No, it did not. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I think my only critique of it, though, and the more I think about it, and this is just a personal thing for me, I would have liked the belief in the prank to go on a little bit longer than it actually did. I would have liked it if it wasn't
It was basically
half of the movie. It was almost split down the middle.
Yeah,
of
it is
half and half.
like it's not quite through the halfway point where it's revealed.
It's pretty close, but I would have personally liked to keep that portion that was the half in the last third, in the last act. I would have truncated it.
Really?
I think that the pace would have been even faster, and I think I would have liked it if it was a little bit more phonetic. But I mean,
I think it's paced pretty well because like when they do reveal that it's actually a prank, even the first time I saw it, I'm just like, this is a home invasion movie. Like, where is this left to actually go? Because like they already killed the kid's friend. Killed
the
quotation
friend's
marks,
friend with a
kid's
ping
friend.
pong gun.
It's literally just them. They're cornered in a closet. There's not a whole lot left for this to go. So I do think they revealed it at the right.
Fair enough. I think I don't know. I think it would have been a little bit more. I guess for me, just because he's a little kid, even though he's clearly a genius, I would have liked. I think it would have added a little bit more tension with a more phonetic pace.
They really took the manipulative mama's boy to the
Oh my
psychotic
God!
degree.
Yes. But he's fucking Sheldon if he was a psychopath. Actually, this may be Sheldon. Because Sheldon's kind of a fucking psychopath. So, wow, there's a thought. But yeah, no, this was a good movie. I dug it.
Yeah. I hope somebody seeks it out. Like I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't want to talk about it too much because spoilers. But it's one that should be talked about.
Fair enough.
Especially talked about more than it already is. Like there was on Facebook, I even saw something floating around recently that was like, "What's your favorite Christmas horror movie?" And it had the posters of like six movies here, and I have it up here right here. And the six that it shows are Krampus, Christmas Horror Story, the 2006 remake of Black Christmas, which I still have not seen, but I do want to seek out.
Have you seen that, Zach?
Nope.
Justin said it's actually pretty decent.
Okay.
It's actually written and directed by the same guy that did the Willard remake with Crispin Glover.
Oh.
I believe he had involvement with X-Files and Final Destination, if he's the person that I think he is.
Okay.
Okay.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I still, of course, have not seen. Anna and the Apocalypse, which was okay,
No, it wasn't.
It
was bad.
I'm gonna talk about that when we get to my turn.
and Gremlins, which is great.
Amazing.
So it's like, Better Watch Out has obviously not reached that big of an audience yet. So seek it out. And so then the last one I have to talk about, this is one that just premiered 2 days ago as of this recording, and that is Shudder's Creepshow Holiday Special. So the Creepshow TV series, which is really good, it's only gone for one season. Production of season 2 had to be delayed because of COVID, but it is my understanding that they are back in production. They might have actually finished principal photography, or they're almost done, but they were able to get back into production. But to still give their audience something, this past Halloween they gave us an animated special, and now they've given us a holiday special. Now normally each episode is 2 stories, but this one they did one double long story instead, based off of a short story called Shapeshifters Anonymous. In fact, the story retains the name Shapeshifters Anonymous, and it's about a man who believes he's a werewolf who's killing people. And he seeks out it's sort of like AA, but for shapeshifters.
Okay.
And there's one person there who says she's a were cheetah, one is a were boar, one is even a were tortoise.
Who the fuck would want to be the weird tourist?
Somebody who's really boring and unimaginative.
Well, it's not that he wanted to be it. That's what he became.
But is he though, or is it all bullshit?
That sucks. It
gets weirder. And then you have one member there who isn't even actually a shapeshifter. She's just a furry who dresses up as a hippo.
Oh god! Fucking hippos aren't even Oh Jesus Christ!
And then you have one person there who just sits there, doesn't say anything. Nobody knows what he is or why he's there. But
came
he's
for the
just
free
there.
coffee.
He's just there. He doesn't even do anything. He just sits there. Says nothing. And so
He's like
basically,
fucking Scruffy from Futurama.
and so basically, they're helping this guy sort of come to terms with the fact that he's a shapeshifter, and they give the history, and that basically Santa Claus hunts shapeshifters, and all the mall Santas in the world are actually Santa's army, and then Santa's army tracks them down. And so they have to defend themselves and shoot up Santa's army. And then actual Santa shows up.
I have nothing.
I feel sorry for the tortoise. Holy shit!
Oh my god!
It's a random pastime for Santa Claus.
It is a very bizarre 46 minutes.
Clearly,
It is not bad. I want to be clear about that. But and I watched it with Justin, and what we said at the same time when it was over, that was weird.
Yeah, it sounds fucking weird. Like I can only imagine what it actually is.
It was really weird.
I've never heard of a were tortoise.
It was probably one of the weirdest times that I've ever had watching a TV show.
And you watch Preacher.
It's super weird.
Damn. That's really fucking weird.
It's not bad. It's worth watching.
All right, fair. I mean, I'll take your word for it for sure. But
It was funny.
Yeah.
All right, it had that creep show humor to it.
Okay.
But it was really weird.
It's also Creepshow. Creepshow is pretty weird.
Yeah, this is weird even for that.
That's surprising. That is very surprising.
It's like what was Greg Nicotero on when he directed this?
Drugs, lots of them.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, lots of drugs, and the good kind of drugs, not the bad kind of drugs.
But yeah,
That's debatable.
But yeah, it was a good time, a weird time. Looking forward to season 2. Now that Walking Dead's going to be coming to an end, I hope he's able to put even more time into future Creepshow stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm really liking, overall, I'm like really, on average, 2 stories per episode. We have 6 episodes in season 1, plus the holiday special. So that's 7 episodes, 14 stories plus the holiday special. So we basically have 15 stories, and only 2 of them I just didn't like. So 13 out of 15 good stories so far.
That's pretty good.
Keep it coming.
That's pretty good.
And yeah, that's pretty much my Christmas horror list for
So-
today. Pretty much ate up more than half of our time today, but
that's okay.
I
only
have a feeling I had the most out of the three of us
agreed.
today. So
The,
I'll pass it on to one of you two.
And Zach gets to talk about Anna and the Apocalypse, his favorite Christmas horror movie
That movie
ever.
was fucking terrible.
The
That movie was hard to watch.
please tell us about it.
It's a musical. It's a Christmas musical that forgets it's a musical, but when it remembers it's a musical, it's a bad musical. Because one, the lip sync is some of the worst lip sync I've ever seen in cinematic history, and two, the voices of the people who are singing do not match the voices of the people who are actually on screen. It is really fucking annoying and cringeworthy to watch. Like, I was literally sitting here in my seat and I asked these two, I'm like, am I the only one who's, like, just hating this right now? Like, just feels terrible watching this? I was actually somewhat excited for this movie. I'm like, oh, that looks fun and cool. No, it's not. It's annoying as shit and terrible. Just, what the fuck? This should have been a stage play, not a movie.
Yeah, it would have been much better as a stage play.
Stage play, perfect. Give a splatter zone and everything. It would have been great. Movie? No. They dropped the ball hardcore on this one.
It is really like the more I thought about it, it was really really bad. Like almost like bad old kung fu movie lip syncing type.
No,
of deal.
that's at least funny. This was just cringe.
Okay, so I'm obviously I have a. If anybody's been watching any one of our podcasts, they'll know that I have a pretty extensive background in theater and in musical theater. So, I watch a lot of fucking musicals, and in movies, television shows, and on stage. I've been in them. The music in it's actually pretty good. And I think that's the really disappointing part about it. I actually enjoyed the music, and had I listened to it on a separate soundtrack, I would have been like, oh, this is pretty good. Lyrics were okay. It was a high school type musical, so I dug it. I dug the sound, but it's very you don't like that type of music. That's very atypical of musical theater.
And one thing I do want to add, and if you just watch the trailer, you'll probably think that this is a movie that's trying to make fun of musicals. It's not. It is actually trying to be a legitimate musical.
I did not get that feeling at all from the trailer.
I
thought it was trying to be a legit musical.
I mean, so did I. I actually thought it was going to be like a fun.
Which I have met people who thought it was going to be a spoof of musicals.
Really?
So that's why I bring
okay.
this up. So
Okay.
All right,
it is actually trying to be a legit musical. And that's probably sort of the beginning of my biggest complaint with the movie. And my biggest complaint is the story is super basic.
It is.
That is my biggest gripe with it.
I thought it was going to be Zombieland the musical. Like I thought it was going to have that same kind of fun feel to it, and and be, have that same energy, and it kind of doesn't. It ends up falling flat, and I'm gonna even excuse the bad lip singing, which was bad. I think overall it was just
It was bad.
hurt.
It didn't bother me as much.
It
'cause,
was hurting my
I'd-
soul.
I'd rather, because filming a musical is really difficult. I'm just gonna put that up right there. So the fact that they even got a musical made, all of itself is impressive.
fair enough.
Regardless of lip sync quality, they did it, and they made it, and it got distribution. That's something to be proud of, regardless. That's like knowing how musicals are made. It's like, of course, they're going to be using dub tracks, all right? Because I've seen Les Miserables where they use the live singing, and the way that affects the cinematography and editing structure. Never again. Never, I would rather something like Anne and the Apocalypse than something like the most recent Les Mis.
I need to see
I
that,
never
yeah.
saw the movie. I love the stage play so much. I refuse to see the movie.
I need to see the movie just so I can compare the two.
Yeah,
But
and-
here's the thing. I've seen a lot of movie musicals before. And I'm not the biggest fan of movie musicals. Hell, I'm not the biggest fan of musicals. I've never had that hard of a time getting through one, though. Like, this was hurting
Still,
to get
though,
through.
having Zach review musicals is like having somebody who doesn't like RPGs review an RPG.
Gee.
Sure. That seems oddly specific, and
You don't get
and
it.
it probably a reference I'm not even involved in, but okay. The
I just crossed a line with a comment there. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll find out about that later.
Yeah, but for being so yeah, I mean, making
Being
a
a low
musical
budget.
is super difficult. Even more difficult if you're an independent film production. So and it's like this movie clearly did not have Les Mis money. It clearly
No.
did not have Across the Universe money. So it's on just in terms of knowing how hard making any film is. Hell, look at how hard it's been making our 4 short films, one of which still in post-production at the time of this recording. It's difficult. So it's like I do sympathize with the independent filmmaking there. It's still, this feels like something that was made by, because like even looking at the background of this movie, and I couldn't find much, but it is based on a short film that was like less than 10 minutes long, and the director of that, who is also one of the credited screenwriters of this movie, actually died of cancer a few years prior to this movie being made.
That's rough.
So this does feel like, so knowing that, it does feel like it does feel like it was made by people who've just been making shorts, and they were finally able to get to a point where they could make a budgeted
Feature.
musical based off of a short story that their comrade has written. So it's like it is a lot of. It's hard to draw the line of independent because I can't remember if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I've said this a lot in our own personal conversations. When you actually look at a lot of these independent movies, you never see just one production company's logo in
it's
front
5.
of it. You get a few. So it literally takes, you cannot do it on your own to make a
Takes a
feature.
village.
Especially if you want a feature that's actually going to go somewhere. So yeah, it's still independent, but it's, multiple production companies joining forces to make this independent feature and get it a budget. But yeah, it's the lip sync is still bad, but knowing what I know about what it takes to make a movie, I would rather have a dub track musical that's a little off, but still have the filmmaking there, than have something like Les Mis where the filmmaking suffers because they want something live and the music matches the lip movements exactly because it was recorded live. But that being said, the story of this movie is where it drops the ball. It is good music with a super basic story, and I think it needed something beyond that basic story to really succeed in my eyes.
Here's the thing. I feel like you're not really addressing how bad the lip sync was. Like, you make it sound like it was just slightly off, like maybe a millisecond or two. No, there was like a good second to even 2 seconds sometimes where the lip sync was really, really fucking bad.
And that's there. But I don't think it's as bad as you're making it sound. But also, like you said, it's not as willy-nilly as probably I just made it sound. It's somewhere.
Well, how about I be the person in the middle? And actually, you know what? My biggest criticism is actually not that. It's I agree with everything that both of you said, and actually, it's something that you said that once you see it, you can't unsee it, which was the people that are singing don't sound like the people that they actually are.
And here's what's interesting about that too. Going through the credits, IMDb, Wikipedia, I cannot find any actual evidence that they had different people sing for those characters.
And that's what the weird part about it is, and I don't know if it's because of the lip syncing that it caused this.
So I don't know if it is because of lip syncing, but also, and there are a lot of people whose singing voices are completely different from their regular talking voices. So I don't want to discount that.
It's not even about that. It's just about I've been watching movie musicals and musicals for a very long time, and there's certain things in the voice and in the mannerisms and in the inflections and in the tiny details of where I can tell where even when you're singing, your personality is still there, even if it's in its most minute categories. And I think this is the reason why, even if they are the people that have been singing it, The
Which
problem
they may or may not be.
They may or may not be, but I think the problem is because there was some disconnect at some point with what was going on performance-wise and what was when they actually recorded the singing. I don't know if there wasn't enough direction in the actual singing booth, because when you direct a musical, you have to direct on set, but you also have to direct in the booth when they're redubbing their tracks and singing. And the interesting thing is that I think that there wasn't enough direction when they were actually in the fucking booth singing the song and saying, hey, this is your actions, these are the emotions that you were feeling. I have to direct you twice. When you do a musical, you got to direct them twice. Once when they're doing this, like I just said, the physical actions, and then once when they're in the fucking recording booth.
But like I was saying, you have to direct them twice. You have to direct them in the booth, singing, and in there. And I think that there was just a huge disconnect between the emotions they were feeling when they were singing and the emotions when they were feeling when they were acting. And I understand how fucking difficult that is. I do. I once had to ADR an entire scene one time because they lost the audio for it in a rom-com. So I understand when you have to react whatever the hell it is. But at the end of the day, it is something that you have to do. And I think I'm going to blame more of the direction and more of the involvement of the director and the rest of the crew, the sound folks, than I am going to blame the actor on that one. But I got to give a little bit of blame to the actor. And that's I think the reason why, Zach, that you were like, these are probably not the same fucking people, which it very, very were clearly.
Like I could not find any
evidence.
actual solid evidence one way or the other.
I think that they were really fucking concerned about singing once they were in the booth, and they were less concerned about acting. Which, guess what? It's a huge fucking problem because musicals are acting and singing.
Yeah. And you know what? That actually does make a lot of sense, and that very well might be the case. But at the end of the day, I don't give a damn. That is not a good movie.
And it's an interesting experience. I just know for me that I hope that musical was overambitious people in reality getting the best of them rather than a golden handcuff situation.
I would watch something else that they do to see what they do.
So would I. I would want to see it.
There is also the point of view of sometimes you just gotta release something.
I hear you.
Like you're never gonna get better if you never release anything.
You gotta have a starting point. And God, and you know what? And I'm gonna take a guess and say it's overambition because fucking musicals, like the hardest thing you can fucking release next to a heavy effects driven movie. Like that's one of the hardest fucking things you can do to film. So I like to think it was over ambition that backfired on them rather than golden handcuffs. I certainly hope it's not. I never want to get caught in the golden handcuffs argument. But yeah, I'm hoping it's over ambition. I would very much like to see something else they would do outside of a musical oriented thing. I'd be curious to see it. If the second one's bad, then yeah, we probably know where that train leads.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Krampus and Gremlins, I think are both great. Gremlins is always so fun story about me. Every time I am wrapping my Christmas presents, I watch Die Hard. Watch it every year while I'm wrapping my Christmas presents. If I exceed the time allowed for Die Hard and I'm still wrapping presents, Gremlins is the next movie I go into right after that. I absolutely love Gremlins. I have for a long time, and arguably, I still go in fights with myself about which one I like more, Gremlins 1 or Gremlins 2. You really, because I would have thought I never would even remotely come close to having that kind of challenge in my life until I actually saw Gremlins 2. And I'm like, fuck, this is really kind of bothering me. I mean, you know, there's a spider gremlin to Angel of Death by Slayer. What the fuck's not to like? Even Zach's like, the image just does wonderful things. But yeah, just like the aesthetics of Gremlins, the set design, the script, everything that's going on. The fucking fight in the kitchen is probably my favorite scene in that whole movie. And actually, it was originally supposed to be way more violent than that. I heard it some behind the scenes feature. Like originally, I think the mom was supposed to die,
and that whole scene was supposed to be much more violent than it actually was.
I don't remember reading anything like that. Like, the biggest difference between script and filming that I can think of for that movie is Gizmo was originally supposed to become a gremlin.
I did hear about that.
And they decided during filming that, no, let's keep him good. And that's why Gizmo doesn't move around a lot in the second half, because they really only designed the Gizmo puppet for everything that he did in the first half. So,
Fair enough. I know they had a lot more movement in the second one. The but yeah, I love that scene. Watching a fucking mom throw a gremlin into a microwave till he explodes is pretty great. But yeah, overall it's fantastic. I just watched Krampus for the first time a few days ago. I actually really enjoyed it. I have my problems with it for sure. It's not perfect. There's a couple of things that, like, I think this.
That was your first time?
That was my first time seeing it. I'd never seen it before. It's basically a home invasion horror movie combining with family vacation, Christmas Vacation. You never saw Christmas Vacation?
Nope.
Oh, dude, you guys
I've never
both
seen
suck.
it either.
Oh my god, such a good movie.
Everybody says I should.
You really
And
should.
by everybody, I mean Justin.
It's your kind of movie. And Zach, you would dig it as well.
I'm not big on Chevy Chase.
If you're gonna, that's probably the best vacation of the vacation series. Probably next to the original, and then Christmas is pretty awesome. Anyway, I said this earlier, but the set design and everything around it was great. It really could have been a very lazily done movie, and it wasn't. It was done by people who actually gave a shit. And there's actually a fantastic animation in the movie. They do a past story. It's in the same vein as Coraline. And it is really good and surprisingly heartfelt in the middle of it. One of the biggest criticisms that I heard from people, before is like, oh, all these people are terrible people and they're all dicks and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, they are, but they're not unredeemable. They're just, it's just it's family squabbles, which happens at every Christmas. They made them sound, in all the negative reviews, they were like, oh, they're all awful. And I was like, you made them sound like hardened criminals or vindictive, horrible people. I'm like, this is family drama bullshit that you would see at any Christmas at all.
The truth hurts, Mark.
I love this.
I'm saying, do you think those critics who took issue with that were maybe seeing a little too much
Probably.
real life in it, and they got butthurt over it?
Probably. Oh, butthurt. We should bring that back.
1990 called.
Oh, love it. But I loved how sarcastically cynical that movie was. It had a lot of cynicism to it. Like the whole opening scene is this is how Zach feels about Christmas. Like the spirit of this movie was so much about how Zach sees Christmas with such a cynical fucking eye. Especially
He's not wrong.
Especially the opening scene with all the Black Friday in slow motion is fucking hilarious. It's literally like a doorbuster where a bunch of people get fucking trampled. And then this giant fat security guard literally tases two
Just out of
people.
curiosity, have any of us ever actually done a Black Friday
No.
shopping?
I had
never.
The moment the doors open?
No, never
Never.
wanted to it.
Never
And also a piece of advice, never buy electronics on Black Friday because they purposely sell shit for Black Friday.
Yeah.
If you check the barcodes, it's one digit off. Or has an extra digit. It literally has an F or a D on the end, and it's specifically electronics that are more than likely to break, and 90% of people don't buy the fucking warranties.
Yeah. Whenever I've done Black Friday shopping, it's always in the middle of the day, after all the crowds have died down.
Here's the thing: places started doing early deals, on
Correct.
Wednesday, like GameStop. I used to call it Black Wednesday. Mm-hmm. You would just go on Wednesday. I picked up 20 fucking games after I started, working early on. And I'm just like,
it's not the same.
It's just fucking easier. I don't know why people do the Friday shit. Fucking idiots.
They don't do the doorbusters anymore. They spread it out so much now that it's nowhere near that it was in the 80s all the way up to the mid 2000s.
And then also, online shopping is just so much fucking easier.
Well, yeah, they got Cyber Monday, and and the crazy thing
I
is,
was gonna say Cyber Monday and Black Friday. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get the same deals.
you really do. And then also too, the other thing is they stopped doing the doorbusters for the exact fucking reason that it was depicted in the opening scene of this. People actually died. People were
Because people are stupid.
yeah. This is the one time I'm gonna agree with Zach on this. Yes, they were fucking stupid.
Black Friday is for fucking morons.
Yeah, I never got it. And it's also like, I can't believe I'm quoting The Office, but it's like, you're only saving that amount of money if it's something that you were already intending on buying anyway.
Exactly. And you know what? And that's like the one, like the footage from that opening scene is exactly like the make fun of footage you would see on like YouTube of all the people, the horror stories. But yeah, it had a really cynical sense of humor. Like the practicals were fantastic. It was a lot of fun, and actually just watching some of the practicals the second time when I watched it, I was like having even more fun. Good Bad Flicks actually brought it up. Like it kind of had, especially with the gingerbread guys, kind of had that feel of Army of Darkness to it. That it was kind of a silly like.
Did Good Bad Flicks do Krampus?
They no, he did a review on it though. He didn't do it.
So it wasn't one of his actual.
It wasn't actual one of his breakdowns, but it was a movie review. And he's like, yeah, it kind of had like some of those like Army of Darkness moments, which were pretty cool. The a couple like nitpicks that I had, like some of the decisions that some of the characters make, I didn't care for. Like especially like the parents letting the daughter go.
Like it does have those moments, but it was one of those things where it's like, is it worth mentioning? Yes. Did it take me out of the movie? No.
And dude, and the one guy who's in a bunch of comedy movies,
David Koechner.
David Koechner, yeah, he's fucking fantastic. He's like the ultimate redneck. It's fucking dude. He literally his Humvee is he names it Lucinda, and he's got like this giant drawer that comes out with like a perfect shotgun with a flashlight on the end of it. It's so great. Literally looks like Blade's trunk. Like literally like comes out like with a mechanics. It's great. The ending is the most controversial part of that movie, and and I won't spoil it in this podcast, but everybody will know what the fuck I'm talking about when they actually see it. I actually, the more I thought about it, the more I liked it, because it didn't do what I thought it was going to do, which I'm glad it didn't. It basically almost went for the cliche ending, but then totally said, fuck you, we're not actually going to do that.
I do know somebody who thinks they did do, and I'm assuming things right now because you're not saying anything.
And we'll talk about it.
You're being cryptic right now, so I'm making assumptions about what you're being cryptic about. But if I am understanding you the way I think you want to be understood, Zach is shaking his head.
Please tell me.
Because I am fully aware of how ridiculous the two of us sound right now.
You don't fucking say. I'm over here just like, I fucking hate Christmas. Why are we doing this?
But I do know somebody who does actually, despite a certain thing being revealed in the end, still thinks that they did that cliche thing.
No.
Despite the fact that it shows you that it did not, in fact, do the cliche thing.
Exactly. Like it's so much more. It's a Wonderful Life and Ebenezer, and Christmas Carol than it is Wizard of Oz. It's really good. I actually cracked a joke though at the end. I'll tell you. Literally watching with Vinny and everybody else, and then when the kid woke up, I was like, is he gonna go to the window and see a boy on the street and be like, "You sir, what day is it? You young boy, what day is it? Why, it's Christmas Day, sir. Of course it is." But besides that though, like I actually really liked it, but a lot of people are not gonna like it. Because they're gonna be like, oh, this and that, but I really dug it, and overall it was a really enjoyable movie.
One of the better PG-13 horror movies out there.
Definitely, there's a lot of that's one of those like shark movie theories. I think that although we kind of slightly disproved that in that one podcast that we did a while back, PG-13 one, that there are quite a few that we weren't even thinking about, and then when we actually had to go and research, there were quite a few.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are two of the best ones. I didn't get a chance to see Silent Night, Deadly Nights. I mean, but Gremlins and Krampus were both great. I highly recommend them. So
So are those your picks?
yeah, those were my picks.
All right. Now,
So-
Zach, I do think it was very mean of Mark that he kind of forced Anna and the Apocalypse on you, since that is a movie you don't like. Mark, that was a jerk thing you did to Zach.
oh, but I
Let's
wanted.
not mince words here. It was a jerk thing.
Oh, but I wanted to see him rant about it.
But Zach, do you have any Christmas horror movies that you would actually like to talk about?
I only have one Christmas horror movie that I would like to
Is
talk
it what
about.
I think it's going to be?
Probably.
Okay.
It is the only Christmas horror movie that I watch every year, and it is the greatest Christmas movie / Christmas horror movie in all of existence. In fact, you could say this is my revenge against Mark. So have you figured it out yet, buddy?
How have you not figured it out yet, Mark?
Oh no.
The best Christmas
Oh,
movie and Christmas
no.
horror movie to ever hit the screen and just life itself is Jaws the Revenge.
Fuck you.
No, Mark. Do not fuck me. Fuck your girlfriend.
No, you don't fuck me. I fuck you. Wait, what?
Jaws the Revenge
Oh my god.
is a very simple movie.
Oh,
It is a very elegant movie. It is a great movie.
I hate you so much.
It is about a shark that gets revenge on the Brody family. Because apparently, sharks have feelings.
It's literally the stupidest movie I've ever seen.
It is so fucking great.
I would like to say
And
that
it takes place on Christmas, so it works.
I would like to say that in terms of actual entertainment, I do think it is the second best of the Jaws
I
movies.
still debate which one's the second best. It's always between 3 and 4.
Michael
I
Caine.
love them both.
Michael Caine won an Academy Award, and he couldn't come to fucking accept the award because he was filming this goddamn movie.
And you know what? He should be proud of that moment because what he filmed was a goddamn masterpiece.
He does the most inappropriate shit in the world with children in that movie.
Also-
I'm gonna fly this plane straight the fuck down while I have a child in my lap. And hopefully you don't go through the goddamn windshield.
So, and
Best Michael Caine movie ever. You know it.
it's not the best Michael Caine movie, but and this is going to be Brandon, the cinematographer, speaking here for a second. I do find it very amusing that and I actually tracked down Old American Cinematographer issues, the magazine, and
They had something on this fucking movie?
Jaws the Revenge was not only the cover story, it beat out Predator in the same issue as the cover story.
Dude, that's gotta piss you off.
No, it doesn't. I love Jaws.
God
And it just validates my opinion even more.
The
It's actually not a bad looking
dude,
movie.
Michael Caine was in this movie so he can get a free fucking trip to the Bahamas. That's the reason why.
Well,
And he gets to say he was in a Jaws movie. Who
I-
wouldn't want that?
I do believe there was an interview where somebody asked him, "Did you ever see Jaws the Revenge?" And he said, "No, but I've seen the house that it paid for, and it's magnificent."
Oh my god. That is amazing.
Oh God, I love this movie. If you haven't seen it for some reason, I don't blame you, but you really should watch it.
a fucking dumpster fire.
Just to give a little backstory, the novelization of this
what?
movie is great.
So, keep talking.
Okay.
I'm gonna get something.
Okay, you do that.
Oh,
But
you
yeah, the
son of a
novelization
bitch.
of this movie expands a little bit more light on this. So the reason, the shark apparently has a grudge against the Brody family is because when Chief Brody, back when he was a cop in New York, I guess arrested a witch doctor or a voodoo priest or something along those lines. It's been many a year since I've read the book. And the witch doctor, voodoo priest, whatever the fuck it is, placed a curse on the Brody family. A very specific one, so that a shark would haunt him for the rest of his life. Because that makes sense. It is so great.
It's this hands down one of the stupidest fucking things I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
they don't address that in the movie. In fact, the movie is just, the shark is just killing the Brody family. Goes to Amity Island on Christmas, kills the youngest son, and then, everybody's all in awe. The mother goes
It
with the other son.
follows them to the fucking Bahamas.
It follows them.
I just want to point out, the oldest son decided to take a career in marine biology. You know, after all that shit that happened to him and his family over the past 3 fucking movies, he's gonna make a career in marine biology.
Oh my god. It's almost as bad as the one at the fucking theme park.
The theme park one was just straight up hilarious
That
entertainment
was
with
Jaws 3D, right?
yeah, with great 3D effects, I might add.
Oh my god. Oh no, it was awful 3D.
But yeah, he doesn't want the mother to celebrate Christmas alone in that fucking hellhole, so brings her to the Bahamas, and then everything just kind of goes to hell.
Michael Caine's like the weirdest fucking dude in that movie.
He is great. It is beautiful.
Oh, it is. Oh my god.
God, I just love the movie. It's so fun.
It is retarded fun.
It is, no, it's just pure fun.
And I'm back.
Yeah,
So before I
oh no,
go into what I brought here,
yeah, we were on a rant for a while you were gone.
yeah, because I apparently can't go a whole podcast without mentioning Joe Dante.
Oh god.
Um,
Or a Simpsons quote.
or a Simpsons quote. There was actually a point where Joe Dante was supposed to direct Jaws 3.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh,
Yeah, except back then it was going to be a co-production with National Lampoon. And it was going to be called Jaws 3 People Zero.
Oh my god, I would have loved to have seen
No,
that.
no.
Oh, with National
But what
Lampoon
happened?
involved? Oh
But what
god.
I don't
happened
want to.
was it kept getting delayed, kept getting delayed, kept getting delayed.
I wonder
And
why.
then Spielberg offered Joe Dante one of the Twilight Zone movie segments.
Ah.
And since that was actually going to be a go picture, Joe Dante jumped ship and went with Twilight Zone. So what I have here is the official Razzie movie guide. And there is actually a chapter dedicated to Jaws the Revenge.
There's a whole chapter.
Jesus Christ.
The chapters are super short in this book.
All right. There's a quote in there that you have in mind. I know there is.
I like how it's at the beginning of the book as well. It's like one of the first fucking
Yeah, well,
pages.
it's divided into sections, and this is in a section called All God's Creatures Large and Lame. And the other movies in this section are Anaconda, Ape, The Beach Girls and the Monster, The Giant Spider Invasion, Goliath and the Dragon, Jaws the Revenge,
Yeah.
King Kong Lives, and Trog.
I don't know, but I really want to see the movie Beach Girls and the Monster.
So have I.
And so it's got some actual critic quotes to start the chapter. From Roger Ebert. Not simply a bad movie, but also a stupid and incompetent one. A ripoff.
Rip-off?
From Desson Howe of the Washington Post. There's more suspense in On Golden Pond. Some sequences among the humans are so pathetic that you begin rooting for the shark.
Well, it's the Washington Post, so.
And then from Variety, the attack sequences, full of jagged cuts and a great deal of noise, more closely resemble the view from inside a washing machine. It mentions how Mrs. Brody is so mad she starts remembering incidents from previous Jaws films that happened when she wasn't even there.
Hey man, those flashbacks, they're great. You gotta remember the good Jaws movie, right?
She spins the ship's wheel wildly towards the shark, impales it on the broken prow, and it explodes for no clear reason.
How is that not awesome?
That's the Power Rangers effect right there, folks.
There you go.
Explosions happen for no reason.
They really do.
Then comes the most blatant test market ending of all time as Van Peebles is suddenly found alive and everybody gets to go home happy. Everybody but the paying patrons, that is. On opening night in Hollywood, Jaws the Revenge was regularly greeted with audience guffaws, and when it ended, an extensive angry boo was left lingering in the air. In large part because of his Worst Actor nominated performance here, Bruce the Shark received our 1987 Worst Career Achievement Razzie Award, and no one found our choice fishy in the least.
Someone needs to light that thing on fire after this.
Oh my god, that's so disgusting. Fucking movie. Oh man.
The
So-
Razzies, they used to be sort of relevant.
No, not so much. So,
That movie's fantastic. You don't know what you're talking about,
oh
Mark.
my god. I think that's a.
This is a really interesting podcast.
This really
recording
was an
today.
interesting one. The I have no question of the podcast just because that in-depth conversation got real deep. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna
I said, I've
say.
never gone so much for a movie that I overall just think is
Meh.
meh.
They
And it's like my thoughts on the movie are the thoughts of the movie, but it's like as a filmmaker, I always just think it's interesting discussing what behind the scenes things led to
absolutely
a movie.
110%.
And there wasn't really a lot of information about this one, so it is just all of our speculation.
True.
And after all that speculation, it really is just for a movie that I think is meh.
Yep. I think this is a good time for final thoughts.
All right, so for my final thoughts, Christmas horror movies. There are some good ones. There are some lesser known hidden gems, like Better Watch Out. I think that's probably the top of my list for hidden gems that should be sought out. Like I said, it's like nobody really talks about that one. And then there's the Creepshow Holiday Special. Seek that out and let me know how weird you thought it was.
I can't wait. Zach,
I hate Christmas.
no squirrels?
No.
My final thought is that there are Christmas movies for everybody. There's the regular, happy, sappy ones. There's a good cynical comedy ones, and there's also some pretty good, horror Christmas ones as well. So Christmas at the end of the day is what you make it. There's plenty of shit out there for everybody. So that's my final thought. Brandon, take us out.
Well, before I take us out, did you ever hear the one about the chess tournament, the high school chess tournament that was happening? And in the hotel, there were two kids in the tournament talking, and then one of the hotel workers came up to them and said, "Hey, we can't have chestnuts boasting in an open foyer."
I would shoot him.
I really want to close it out.
All right, thank you all.
He's always
for-
so fucking proud of himself too.
He really is.
No shame, zero.
None.
Like Jaws, the revenge kind of shame level, none.
There's no
Zero.
shame in Jaws the Revenge.
Zero.
Jaws the Revenge is just a great movie.
Can I take us out, please?
Yes.
All right, thank you for listening to this episode of the Nightmares Podcast. You can listen to all of our previous episodes wherever podcasts are available. Also, be sure to seek us out on social media at Midwest Horror Network on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and
Slasher.
And of course, if you are checking this out on YouTube, go ahead and click that little dingy bell to be notified every time we drop amazing content. Stab that like button, smash that subscribe. And of course, if you are checking us out on a podcast streaming service, press the little follow button to also be notified every time we drop a new episode of the Nightmares Podcast. Merry Christmas, filthy animals. We'll see you later.
don't you mean Scary Christmas?
I'm gonna stab you.
Merry Christmas. Later.